You know, when I was playing, my vision and my tunnel vision was my craft. I was a professional basketball player, and I tried to do that the best I could. Now I have more time to understand things around me, understand causes, understand, issues and, problems, and commit, my voice, my financial support too.
Michael Jordan is arguably the greatest basketball player to walk planet Earth. His competitive nature is the stuff of legends, his 360s were lethal, and his jumper is the stuff of folk heroes. But the piece of the pie missing for many at the table when discussions of Jordan circulate is his lack of activism. Now, he says, he's all for it.
What do you think about professional sports players now who use their platforms for activism?
I think it's great if they understand the causes. Obviously, if they feel their voice matters, great, and I support that.
However minimal one may think of this answer, it is night and day from his playing days. In the wake of the Paul Robesons, the Jackie Robinsons, the Muhammad Alis, the Curt Floods, basketball needed its version of these outspoken, activism-driven athletes. In Chicago, Jordan had a teammate by the name of Craig Hodges, only one of two men to win 3 straight three-point contests in All-Star Game history. When he saw Rodney King beaten by Los Angeles PD, he knew he had to take action. Hodges tried to convince Jordan and Magic Johnson that both teams should stage a boycott. We would stand in solidarity with the black community while calling out racism and economic inequality in the NBA, where there were no black owners and almost no black coaches, despite the fact that 75% of the players in the league were African American. Jordan told Hodges he was crazy, while Magic Johnson said, "That's too extreme, man." Sadly, a spin we have seen repeated itself recently. With MJ, he was asked to comment on the King verdict. Jordan said, "I need to know more about it." Hodges implored his teammates to help local Chicago communities. "I envisioned the Chicago Bulls making history in the most meaningful way. We also had a basketball player whose popularity exceeded that of the Pope. If the Bulls spoke in a collective voice during the golden age of professional basketball, the world would listen." When Hodges counseled MJ to break with Nike and get into the sneaker business to help black communities with employment across America, legend has it MJ said, "Republicans buy sneakers too."
Can't be afraid of losing shoe sales if you're worried about your civil and human rights. Can't be worried about that. He took commerce over conscious.
Those were the words of activist and one of the greatest, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. In his playing days, MJ would not endorse black Democrat Harvey Gantt in a 1990 North Carolina Senate race against Republican Jesse Helms, who was described as the last prominent, unabashed, white racist politician in this country. Gantt ultimately lost 53 to 47%. Would his voice have made a difference? Potentially, but as they say, better late than never. In 2016, he criticized Donald Sterling.
"As a former player, I'm completely outraged. There is no room in the NBA or anywhere else for the kind of racism and hatred that Mr. Sterling allegedly expressed."
When the Warriors declined an invitation to 1600 Pennsylvania Ave, Jordan backed the team and players. Colin Kaepernick's protest was on the injustices minorities, particularly black men and women, being systemically viewed as the lesser by police forces across the country. Jordan, in July of 2016, spoke out. He said he's deeply troubled by the deaths of African Americans at the hands of law enforcement and angered by the cowardly and hateful targeting and killing of police officers. Via the Washington Post, Jordan added that he was donating $1 million each to the International Association of Chiefs of Police's newly established Institute for Community Police Relations and the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. Michael Jordan played his career outside of basketball on the straight and narrow, with a tunnel vision-like mindset. Strictly hoops, all the time, no politics. I ponder if his life would be different if every move of his was reported with the boost of Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, push notifications, and a 24/7 news cycle. My guess is the outcome would be different, but that opinion is meaningless in the grand scheme. What matters is now. The supposed GOAT finally, at long last, speaking up in the last 5 years. With this title comes a responsibility. Even if the message is clouded with written statements, it carries weight. MJ's time of reckoning has come. Here's to hoping for more philanthropy and activism in the near future.